Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona has been on the forefront of this fight against critical race theory, and now the House Freedom Caucus has vowed to oppose any spending bill that doesn't defund it. And he's also been very, very vocal about what's been happening at the border, and we'll talk about that as well. Congressman Biggs joins us. Congressman, good to see you, as always.
Thanks. Good to be with you, as always.
Of course. We're getting ready to start the school year. I have one that goes back to school tomorrow. I have a week before another one goes back. Everybody, CRT, we watched. I have a friend who lives in that Franklin area in Tennessee, and they just had that big old fight about CRT and everything else. Talk to us a little bit about this and what the House Freedom Caucus is doing, because this is insane. And the reaction that school boards have been having to parents who simply want to have involvement in what their tax dollars and their kids are doing is, I've just been stunned with how I thought we lived in a republic.
Yeah, this has been an amazing season. I mean, think eight months ago, Dana, hardly anybody had ever even heard of critical race theory. But one thing that COVID did, it allowed parents to see what was going on in their school, their child's school, the things they were studying, and critical race theory was exposed. It is a pernicious Marxian-based theory. So we see this all over the United States today, and in Arizona, for instance, the legislature banned it. And that's where we are trying to get going at the federal level, is we're trying to introduce legislation. We want to get some amendments into these massive spending bills that say, look, you simply cannot send federal tax dollars to a school, a post-secondary education institution, or a state that is allowing critical race theory to be taught in the classroom. So that's really what we're trying to get at, and put the speed stick down as much as we possibly can.
Do you think, Congressman, that Nancy Pelosi is going to allow a defunding of any kind of CRT and any of those big non-really infrastructure bills?
Well, no, she probably won't do that. If it was defund the police, she'd probably let that come in, but not defund CRT. I mean, that's
right.
That's where we. So well, the other thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get are outside in the conservative universe, trying to get outside, whether it's special interest law firms to bring litigation, or the conservative universe to expand the narrative base, because this is has become an 80-20 issue, Dana, and with that being the case, we need to press that advantage right now and carry it home if we can.
Yeah, I was just reading an interview that a mother had given, and this is, I believe it was in an Atlanta school district, a black mother who was very critical of a black principal who was actually imposing segregation policies in the classrooms and separating the white students and the black students. And I was reading this, and the mother had every right to be outraged about it. And that's, you make a very good point. I don't know in my political lifetime if I've ever seen people, on no matter where they're coming from, so united on this issue. Have you seen? I've never seen anything like this.
No, and for it to catch fire so quickly and spread across the country so quickly, it is a first for me as well. And that's why I'm saying it is something that we need to carry forward, because I think there are people in Congress, quite frankly, who don't like the CRT and the negative connotation it's become. So if you've got that, then we can press that in Congress, and maybe Pelosi gives in a little bit. But I think you've got the 60 to 70 radicals that are going to stand up, and Pelosi's got to kowtow to them. So that's why we're not going to get it through probably. But we got to press our point.
Shifting attention to the border, you are going after DHS's Alejandro Mayorkas because, and actually you filed articles of impeachment against him over his mishandling, his criminal and reckless mishandling of the border. This stuns me because, here in Texas, we had our governor, Greg Abbott, who's trying to stop taxpayer-funded transportation of people who are coming across the border, many of them, according to the people themselves and the third-party agencies that have been doing some of the testing, not all, and according to Border Patrol and law enforcement, there are people who are testing positive, yet they're still getting on transportation provided by the taxpayer and being sent throughout the interior. That's a huge issue, particularly when you look at transmission rates, but also that's a national security issue. It's a pandemic issue. And yet you have Merrick Garland filing suit to keep it up after Greg Abbott tried to stop it. And Mayorkas, DHS, I mean, this is his job. What is he doing, Congressman?
Well, he's basically defunct in his job. He's basically told people keep coming. He hasn't told them to stop coming. He's basically said, we're going to transmit you throughout the country, wherever you want to go. If you want to go to Detroit or LA, Houston, which gets a lot of these folks when I've been down there, a lot of them say they're going to Houston. And they're not enforcing Title 42. So Title 42 is for people who don't know, that gives the authority to the Border Patrol agents to prevent people from entering because of a health crisis. Well, what Mayorkas did is he changed some of the terms of Title 42 so that if you're under age 7, a kid, you're going to get in scot-free, whether you have COVID or anything else. We're not going to send you home. And if you're a family unit, most of those are going to come in as well. And that's why, because people respond to incentives, last month over 19,000 unaccompanied minors were apprehended at the border. So he is basically facilitating the logistics arm of the cartels and the coyotes. And he's basically, at the same time, he's telling the ICE, quit enforcing the law.